are in listen-only mode.
Thank you very much. Where are you, Councilman Desilme? What's that picture? Councilman Desilme, are you in?
Yes, sir. I could hear you now. Yes, sir.
Where you got that picture from?
Which picture? In the back? Well, I think from Walmart. I didn't get it. Somebody got it from Walmart.
Oh, what does that represent?
I have no idea. Somebody purchased it from my thing.
I think the city manager put it there.
Oh no, this is not my. That would be very nice if they give you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it's 2:04. Today it's May 25th, 2021. This is our regular council meeting, and the meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Galvin.
Here.
You're muted. Yeah.
Councilman Desilme.
Here.
Councilwoman Keys. Here. Mayor Bien-Aimé.
Here.
Councilwoman Estime Irvin. Mayor, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. And now we are going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance by Major Donald Blanchard from the North Miami Police Department, and followed by the chaplain, Pastor Amos Jean from Philadelphia Evangelical Baptist Church, for our invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Amos Jean.
You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, Pastor.
Okay, let us pray. Loving Heavenly Father, God of justice and mercy, we come to you this hour for your blessing and help. As we gather together, we thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, the reverence of your creation deserves. And finally, Father, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this as your sons and daughters, confident in your goodness and love. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Again, thank you very much, Major Donald Blanchard and Pastor Amos Jean from Philadelphia Evangelical Baptist Church for the invocation. And now, I don't know if there is anyone wish to remove any item on the agenda before we move forward. Let's go to the city manager. Madam Manager, do you have any addition, deletions, amendments, or deferral to the agenda? Madam City Manager. Where is the city? Hello?
I can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me?
Don't worry. I can totally hear you. Yeah.
I don't see the administration and
I
city
move we
administration. I don't see nobody's there. The city managers and I don't have the city, but I saw her. You have a deputy city manager, someone that can take over, a chief of staff or someone for the administration in the meantime? Okay.
looks like maybe they're rebooting.
Oh.
Mayor, can you hear us now?
Yes. City administration, Madam City Manager.
Yes.
Order of business.
I can hear you. Well,
We would just like to take tab O to move it to the end to pull it out. My understanding is that Councilwoman Estime Irvin will be arriving late to the meeting, and that item is specifically in her district.
tab O,
Yes,
you want to remove it at the end?
yeah, move it to the end, at
Okay.
least until she arrives.
Okay, and also I want to remove tab G to the agenda, so we put it at the next council meeting. We can clarify everything in this contract to making sure that this time we do the right thing. Besides,
Which tab is that? The tab, you say O and which one?
no, tab O gonna go at the end,
Oh, is that the end? Okay.
and tab G gonna be removed
Oh, okay.
for the next council meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. City Attorney, is the agenda set? We proceed.
Yes, Mayor, the agenda is set. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. What do we have now? We have COVID-19 update by Commander Branson from the Emergency Management.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Commander Angelo Branson, Emergency Manager. I have an update on COVID-19 as well as the upcoming hurricane season. As we continue to recover from the global COVID-19 pandemic, we encourage all residents to continue to do their part to protect themselves and to stop the spread of COVID-19. We encourage residents that have not yet received their vaccination to do so at their earliest convenience. Concerning upcoming events, Mayor Bieneme has collaborated with Angel Victory Health Services to sponsor an 8-day community vaccination site at the Joe Celenstein Center. This vaccination site will run from Saturday, June 5th through Saturday, June 12th. They will be providing the Moderna vaccine. More information about this vaccination site will be forthcoming as we continue to advertise for this event. As well, residents should be aware the closest permanent site that's open 7 days a week for North Miami residents is at the Oak Grove Park, located at 690 Northeast 159th Street. You can go there any day of the week and receive your vaccination. Moving on, the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season will start on June 1st and run through November 30th. I can assure residents that the city of North Miami is prepared to respond to any emergencies related to hurricanes or tropical storms. We have training scheduled for all departments, and most of our staff are veterans of multiple storms. I personally have been responding to storms as a police officer since 1996, and we have staff in the police department, Parks and Recreation, and Public Works who've been doing it for longer than I have, over 30 years. So we have plenty of experience with responding. We will continue to monitor all storm-related activity in the Atlantic, the Gulf, and the Caribbean, and we will provide updated information on any storm activity that occurs around South Florida. Now, some of you may have already received this year's hurricane guide in the mail. Miami-Dade County sent out a copy of that guide to every Miami-Dade residents. You can also read a copy of that online if you go to www.northmiamifl.gov/emergency management. You can read that online in English, Spanish, or Creole. Again, northmiamifl.gov/emergency management. You'll find that guide along with several other tips about hurricane season. And again, let me reiterate, we are ready to respond and we are ready to help. That's my report for today, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Commander Brinson from the Emergency Management Department. You know, today it's May 25th, 2021. Is also a special day in the city of North Miami. Today, May 25th, 2021, mark a new day in my life and a new day in the city of North Miami. My first term in office, and today and tonight by 7 p.m., I'm going to officially swear in as mayor for a second term. On behalf of my family, I want to thank the residents of the beautiful city of North Miami for allowing me to serve a second term as mayor. Whether you voted or not for me, or you did not participate at all in the process, I'm your mayor. I want to ensure you that I will work every single day to fulfill my promise and continue to move the city of North Miami forward. Today is also the last official council meeting for Councilwoman Carol Keys. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the 8 years of service to the city of North Miami. I was so happy working with you, and we will miss you on the dais. And I wish you all the best, Councilwoman Carol Keys. I also want to congratulate Councilwoman Marie-Estime Irvin on her victory. Happy to see you back on the dais for another 4 years. Last time we didn't have a chance to see the video, and I hope that we have the video ready for today. But in the meantime, I'm gonna let Councilwoman Carol Keys with this proclamation to our Tom King of Urban Habitat. Think Beyond the Edge by Councilwoman Carol Keys. Is a video or a proclamation, Councilwoman Keys?
It's a video of a proclamation to Urban Habitat and also to Jody Sabrino for a beautification of her home and native habitat in District 2. So it's a combination video.
Okay, thank you very much. IT, can you hold the video, please?
For the past 8 years, as Councilwoman of District 2, it has been my mission to raise awareness for the importance of resiliency and sustainable practices in our beautiful city. From hosting our annual Green Awareness Fairs year after year, to the sponsorship and careful curation of our very own Resilient NOMI initiative, my goal has been to pave the way towards environmental stewardship for residents, business owners, and visitors alike. One of my earlier accomplishments was the passing of an ordinance allowing for the installation of bioswales. Bioswales offer benefits ranging from aesthetic improvement to our neighborhoods, creating habitats for wildlife, flood mitigation, and so much more. Today, I would like to present the Certificate of Beautification and Creation of a Native Habitat to a District 2 homeowner who has gone above and beyond in the cultivation of her own bioswale and yard, Ms. Jody Sobrino. Jody, I'd like to give you this recognition. City of North Miami recognizes Jody Sobrino for creating a beautiful and certified wildlife habitat in District 2, City of North Miami. In recognition of your National Wildlife Federation certification, Councilwoman Carol Keyes, Esquire, applauds your efforts to create a critical refuge for local and migratory species by replenishing vital resources needed to sustain biodiversity. Presented on this 25th day of May, 2021.
Thank you so much. Say a couple words. I just want to thank Councilwoman Keyes for everything she's done for our city, and she's going to be greatly, greatly missed. And I wish her nothing but the best.
Thank you, Jody. Thanks. In protecting our environment, a substantial aspect of my mission included the expansion of our tree planting efforts here in North Miami. As of April 2021, I have crossed the threshold of planting and giving away more than 1,000 trees in North Miami. The completion of this goal was made possible with the education, assistance, and encouragement of the recipient of the next proclamation, Mr. Howard Tonkin, owner of Urban Habitat, Think Beyond the Hedge. The City of North Miami is going to proclaim Urban Habitat, Think Beyond the Hedge, whereas for almost 10 years, Howard Tonkin, through his organization, Urban Habitat, Think Beyond the Hedge, has been committed to planting and building landscapes, urban forests, native gardens, and fighting climate change and its impact through direct action, whereas Urban Habitat Think Beyond the Hedge has built sustainable sanctuaries for a myriad of creatures from butterflies, hummingbirds, and other wildlife, whereas Howard Tonkin and Urban Habitat Think Beyond the Hedge has worked tirelessly to support ecosystems by building habitats essential for biodiversity to urban and suburban landscapes and gardens in the city of North Miami and its surrounding areas, whereas Urban Habitat Think Beyond the Hedge supports the quality of life in the city of North Miami by providing visual quality enjoyment, and not just as a vital sustenance for animals, but also an ambiance that brings the community together and raises awareness of native plants and animals. Whereas Urban Habitat Think Beyond the Hedge contributes to the cooling of the city of North Miami and its surrounding areas by generating necessary rain showers, unlocking the potential of carbon sequestration and reducing runoff, slowing surface flows, and creating spaces for imminent water. Whereas Howard Tonkin and Urban Habitat Think Beyond the Hedge, both professionally and in a volunteer capacity, has aided Councilwoman Carol Keyes in surpassing the 1,000 trees planted in the city of North Miami threshold as of Earth Day 2021. Whereas Howard Tonkin and Urban Habitat Think Beyond the Hedge educates, encourages, and promotes the installing of the right trees in the right places while providing social, environmental, and ecological benefits to the city of North Miami and beyond. Now, therefore, in consideration of the foregoing, I, Carol Keyes, Councilwoman of District 2 in the city of North Miami, on behalf of the City Council and residents, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, May 25th to be Urban Habitat Think Beyond the Hedge Day in the city of North Miami, and we urge all residents to join us in honoring and celebrating Urban Habitat Think Beyond the Hedge. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and seal this 25th day of May 2021. Thank you, Howard.
Thank you, Commissioner Keyes. Thank you. So I would like to say thank you very much to the city for this, and thank you, Commissioner Keyes, for this, and for all the work that you have done, from getting pesticides banned in public spaces to the work you've done behind the scenes on protecting manatees from speeding jet skis in the river, and to all the work that you've done for tree planting, for the environment, for working towards getting a plastic and straw ban in our city. I appreciate that so much. I have this little gift for you here, which is a gesture towards your efforts with the straw banning. It is a reusable and permanent straw that comes with its own little cleaner for you. So thank you so much for everything that you do for the environment, and I hope through your philanthropic and other efforts you continue to do all the hard environmental work that you have been doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you both for your efforts and contribution to our city, making it beautiful and environmentally friendly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Carol G. Do you have anything to add?
No, just two well-deserved honors to make our city environmentally friendly, sustainable, and I hope everybody will continue to do that. Plant a lot of native trees, bioswales, etc. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to have another presentation. It's a proclamation. Proclamation. The City of North Miami is pleased to issue this proclamation in honor of Morel Doucette and Stephen Arboit. And, those are the two artists that have the exhibit at the Museum of Contemporary Art this month. Whereas the Museum of Contemporary Art North Miami is pleased to present After the Rain Comes Light, Portraits of Resilience, a collaborative installation by Morel Doucette and Stephen Arboit. This installation is part of MOCA's Art on the Plaza program, a series of temporary public artworks by Miami-based artists installed on MOCA Plaza. And whereas artists Doucette and Arboit showcase a collaborative work that explore Miami historical African American neighborhoods, highlighting the flora and fauna found in various neighborhoods across Miami-Dade. The work reveals the conflicts of gentrification while celebrating the uniqueness and beauty of the African diaspora. Each of the 10 banners were created from an original mixed media portrait collage, which will be viewed in the museum. The silhouettes featured in these portraits also sourced from an open call to North Miami residents and visitors to share their own portraits and photographs. This installation coincides with Haitian Heritage Month, transforming the plaza into a space for joy and reflection through its bold, vibrant color. And whereas Morel Doucette, born in 1990, and Stephen Arboit, born in 1987, both from Haitian descent, one from New York, and those two artists were rewarded so many times. And we are pleased to issue this proclamation. Whereas MOCA Art on the Plaza program is made possible with major support from the North Miami Community Development Agency, the North Miami CRA, After the Rain Comes Light, Portraits of Resilience by artists Morel Doucette and Stephen Arboit will be on display from May 1st to June 27, 2021. Now, therefore, in consideration of the foregoing, I, Philippe Bien-Aimé, Mayor of the City of North Miami, on behalf of the City Council and residents, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, to be Morel Doucette and Stephen Arboit Day in the City of North Miami, and urge all residents to join us in honoring and celebrating Morel Doucette and Stephen Arboit in witness therefore, and sign on today, May 25th, 2021. It's a proclamation. Congratulations to the two artists, and I invite everyone to pass by the museum so you can see this nice exposure. Morel Doucette and Stephen Arboit, again, congratulations. And I think that's conclude our presentation for today. And now, no. We're not done yet. There's a certificate of recognition under the video presented to Jody Sobrino, again by Councilwoman Carol Keys. Carol, go ahead.
That was included in part of the video, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, okay. Are we waiting on the video?
That was already, oh, no, that was the past video. There were two included in the original video. We're ready to go to the next presentation.
Oh, it was, oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry, Mayor.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a different video. Now it's the quarterly budget presentation.
Yes.
Jackson Taylor.
Yes,
Right?
that's correct.
Okay, go ahead. Already or no?
One moment, Mayor. Mayor, can we go to the next presentation for finance while we get in the presentation for the budget ready?
Is finance ready?
Yes, sir. Just waiting for IT to bring up the presentation. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to present the finance cash report essentially for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021. If we go to the next slide. Okay, So in this chart here, like you've seen in the past, it's just a presentation of the cash balances for the various cash accounts of the city as of March 31st, 2021. And then we compare those balances to what they were at December 31st of 2020. So to begin, the daily investment account, that's the city's operating account. As you can see, the balances are relatively flat. There was an increase of 1.3 million overall between last quarter and this quarter. The utility deposit account, the balance is 2.4 million. That stays the same throughout the year. We make the adjustment to that account at the end of the year. The flexible spending account and the replacement benefit account, those are third-party accounts that are used to administer various benefits offered to employees. In the case of the flexible spending account, it's the AFLAC account where claims are paid on behalf of participants in those various plans. The Wells Fargo account, which is the lockbox account, this is where customers make their payments for the utility bills into this account, and then the balances are transferred to the daily investment account. So any variance between those two is just a timing of when monies were deposited into the account and transferred out into the daily operating investment account. The Corvell account, this is the workers' comp account. This is also a third-party administered account. So again, that is the balances, any change there is a matter of timing of when there were claims presented to be paid. And there was a $20,000 difference just between last quarter and this quarter, not much of a difference there. The restricted Wells Fargo account is 3.1 million. That's just a savings money that we've taken out of the daily investment account, allocated it separately just so we have those funds away from the daily operations, but that balance hasn't changed from the last quarter. The City National Bank landfill account is the account used to pay for the remediation of the Muni Sports site, the Biscayne Landing site. As you can see, there's not much difference there from quarter to quarter, it's still about 5.8 million. And the Wells Fargo escrow account, one held by the school board, is still 7 million. We haven't made any draws on that, on those funds to start the CAGNY project this yet. So no change there. The investments, again, those are all the same. Those are certificates of deposit, $500,000 and $1 million at Iberia Bank. Those are just, the interest on those accounts are very, very small these days. The Feds have really reduced interest rates to near zero, so there hasn't been a lot of activity there from quarter to quarter. The Florida Prime account is where we have our some of our working capital investments. That's been relatively flat as well, and it's also a result of the low interest rates from the interest rates offered by this account are also a reflection of what's happening with the Treasury. Same with the SunTrust Truist certificate of deposit. That's stayed the same relatively from quarter to quarter at about 839,000. So next slide. Okay, so on this slide is where I talk about the essentially how the change from quarter to quarter, the 1.3 million essentially in the daily investment account in terms of increases, inflows and outflows. I talk about, and inflows are just monies coming in, outflows are monies going out. So in January, there was a net inflow of about 635,000. And that's not a big change. It's relatively flat in terms of money going in and money coming out. So we had 6.8 million come in and we had 6.2 go out. And those are just money spent throughout the city for all funds, not just the general fund, from all funds for paying the bills, revenues collected, just strictly cash. So in January, typically, over the past 3 years, we usually take in about 7.3 million This year we took in 6.8, so it's like about a $500,000 drop off in terms of what we collect normally in January from this past January versus on average. Cash outflows, in the past 3 years, the average was 10.6 million. And that was primarily because in the past year, we had made the payment to the CRA, their TIF payment. We had made that payment in January. As you remember, in last quarter, we made that payment in December. So therefore, that is why this January's payment is a lot lower than what's typically the case on average in January. All right, so in February, we had a net inflow of about 121,000, again, relatively flat. The inflows were 6.3 million, the outflows were 6.2 million. And we're right about average in terms of the inflows. The amounts that we took in were 6.5 on average versus what we actually took in, 6.3. So relatively flat. And in February, the outflows are typically about 7.4 million. This February, we were only about 6.2 million. So we decreased, I guess, the cash outflows on average about 17%, or 1.3 million. And in March, the net change or the net increase was 545,000. Again, the changes are relatively flat in terms of the inflows versus outflows. 8.7 million taken in, 8.2 million spent. So the average cash inflows for March for the past 3 years are 7.9 million, and we took in 8.7 million. And in terms of outflows, average is 8 million, and we spent 8.2. So just about a 3% increase in outflows over on average. That's about all I really had. Is there any questions or anything that needed clarification?
Thank you very much. I see Councilwoman Keys.
You took away that screen, but in January, the outflow was, love to see that back. The outflow was about 4. There you go. The outflow, the back. Yes, thank you. So the outflow is 6.2, and had we paid the CRA in January as normal, that would have been another 5.2. So our outflow would have been 11.4, and the average is 10.6. So we're almost at between $800,000 and $900,000 over in our outflows, and so it's kind of, it looks like we're in good shape, but we're really not, because we spent almost $1 million more than we usually do in January. What was that attributed to? Because, I mean, we're only a couple hundred over in the March one, and February we're a little bit down. But why the big increase of almost $1 million in outflows for January? Had we paid CRA?
Well, you have to remember the CRA is only a pass-through. So whatever it is we collect on their behalf in terms of TIF revenues, we remit to them. So any increase in the TIF revenue collections is what is paid out. So there was an increase from last year in terms of the amount that was paid for TIF. So that's a direct reason why the increase of expenditures for TIF is in this fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
And another thing too, because of COVID-19 in January, we ended up spending almost over $1 million because of Miami-Dade was going to reimburse that money because of the CARE Act money. That's maybe another reason also.
That is true, Mayor.
Yes, question from the dais?
Yes. No, you made a statement, and the Miguel said it's true. I'm still lost, and I'm not a finance person. So what is true? Because
no, what we said, it just, remember in December with the CARE Act money, we were approved for over $1 million, and we had to spend that money by December 31st. That's mean we spent the money, but we didn't get the money back until after January. That's why the cash outflow was that high. That's the only thing.
That was in September.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Can I go, or you have a question?
Yes, you, Councilman.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought Miguel, I thought you had something.
No, I was just saying that the CARES money was spent in December.
Yeah.
Like we had to spend it by December.
Okay. My question was exactly what Councilwoman Keys was saying. So I don't understand. So I know it's COVID, and we did some reduction in the staff. Are we with the furlough and all that? So was there really any saving or any point of doing that? That's number one. Number two, the increase in the cash flow. We really not really, it seems like that, but we're not really from the 900 exactly her point. That was my question. I didn't understand your explanation, so maybe a little bit slower. I'm writing it down, trying to figure it out.
But the question was about?
We're almost at, when you look at the total spend in terms of the spending, when you look at the month of January, right? It looks like we, averaged out. It looks good, but technically not really, because when you look at your outflow, and you said the past 3 years, there were the 10.6 million, and then the explanation that you gave to the question that was given was that was my answer, because I didn't understand your question. You said because of, and then the mayor said something about COVID, which I understand that part. But prior to that, you said something that really threw it up, because it's like we're not really. Is there really any saving, or are we really in the same boat that we are?
No, it's what I was saying. In this last year, we made the payment to the CRA in January. So we collect the money, the TIF money from the county in December. And typically we try to get that money turned around and given to the CRA in December as well. Last year, it was paid out to the CRA in January. So the effect that has is it increases on average the amount over the 3 years that we paid in January. But this year, we paid the CRA in December. So that's why this January's number is lower than the average. But net in net, we have we're keeping the spending relatively similar to what we're taking in terms of cash flow. Because as you can see, the difference between what we're taking in versus what we're spending month over month, 635,000 in January, 121,000 in February, 545,000 in March.
That's my question. I mean, the people that usually be screaming, "Oh, the travel, the party." I saw an email the other day to my party. I'm like, okay, they must got the wrong cities. Because that's not done. There's no travel, there's none. So is there any contribution? So what are the factors of saving? Is there any savings? Because I don't want to be in the predicament a couple months from now when we're looking at the third quarter, this second quarter, right?
This is
when we look at third quarter, when you look at the overall health, that, okay, money we're borrowing from different things that we did not know about, that goes into the overall of the city. That goes into the general fund to do this and into that. Because last year I was very, very adamant and very upset in terms of not knowing if money was being spent. I know you guys have the power, the administration, to, do what you think is right. But at the end of the day, the residents come to us, and it's really our responsibility, the five of us, policymakers, to know what is being spent and how it's being spent. So I've always said we need to find out whoever wants to know, but I want to know if we voted on a budget, and we know it's the plan, and you guys are going this way, which we know that you can. Inform us out of courtesy, because when, the end of the year the council comes out, we don't want to figure out there was money that was transferred or that was borrowed that we didn't know about. So that's why I'm looking at these numbers, and it doesn't really mean much to me, but I don't really like them because I don't really see much of the saving. And me not being a finance person, I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's COVID, we're going to come in there, it's going to be, real low. But looking at the cash flow month to month, it doesn't really, it's like it's there. And I don't really understand your explanation of why is it really, really low, because I know the folks are furloughed. There are some other stuff that's contributing into that, but we'll get into that. I guess we probably need to schedule a meeting with you and the manager where I can get into a little bit more in details of that for the sake of this. But okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman Desilme. Councilman Galvin, do you have any question? No. Thank you very much. Now, are we ready to see the budget presentation? We're going to move it to the next.
No, we can do it. We can do it now.
Yes, go ahead.
We just have to. We get on the video.
All right. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and Council. This is Shonda Singleton Taylor, Budget Director, and I'm here to present to you the fiscal 2021 second quarter revenue and expenditure report. Next slide. All right, this report represents financial performance through from October 1st, 2020 through March 31st, 2021. And it includes, this will be an overview of all of the funds. We'll take a look at the general fund, enterprise funds, special revenue, transportation, capital, internal service, and debt service. All right, so this slide gives you a glance at the second quarter for all funds. The fiscal 21 adopted budget is $164.1 million. The amended budget is $196.5 million, which represents about a $32.4 million increase. And these are some of the increases that we mentioned at the first quarter report. However, the difference is there has been an additional amendment for miscellaneous grants and donations. That's pretty much what was added to this list. And just a reminder that by ordinance, the city manager has authorization to amend the budget, appropriate or unappropriate funds as required. Okay, this slide represents the general fund revenues by category. And again, this report represents activity through the end of March, and which would represent 50% of the way through the fiscal year. So as you can see here on the chart, the total current revenues are $66.4 million, which is the amended budget. And the actual as of March 31st was $34.5 million, which represents about 52% revenue received as of the end of March. And if you take a look, if you compare that to fiscal 2020, we've received about 64%, but the difference there is that this time last year, that would have been the beginning of the pandemic. So that's why you see where our revenue is slightly behind at the same time this year. Now, some of those contributing revenue sources would represent other taxes, and most of the other taxes would be like, for example, franchise fees, communication taxes. Some of those revenues are typically on a 1 to 2 month lag. So that's why you'll see that that is showing at 32% received as of the end of the second quarter. as well as charges for services. That includes like false burglar alarms, off-duty police reimbursements, police record reports, zoning, compliance review, park and recreation user fees, lot clearing and removal. So those are some of the items that are in charges for services. And within that category, we're at 29%. Some of that is due to we haven't received the police overtime reimbursement. And really after this report was generated, we did get confirmation that we will receive that off-duty police reimbursement as planned. And again, this is one that will lag in terms of revenue receipts as well. And then also another category would be miscellaneous, our miscellaneous revenue. And that includes earned interest, rents and royalties, donations, disposition of fixed assets, insurance refunds, as well as donations. And that was about 25% as of the end of the second quarter. At that time, we were waiting on Waste Pro contribution revenue to be received, as well as some additional Biscayne landing lease funds. After this report was generated, we did receive confirmation of that additional revenue. So you will see that at the Q3 report. Next slide, please. And this slide represents the expenditures by department for the general fund. And total general fund expenditures, the amended budget is $66.4 million. Our year-to-date expenditures as of the end of March was $33.7 million. I'm sorry about that, which represented 51% of expenditures through the fiscal year. We're right where we need to be in terms of expenditures. Again, keep in mind that this includes the pension payment at the beginning of the fiscal year, as well as it also includes some unanticipated payouts for retirees. Next slide. And this slide represents the general fund expenditures by category. Something different here is we've split the personnel services to show salaries and benefits. So again, on this slide, you'll see that the amended budget is $66.4 million, expenditures are $33.7 million, again, 51%. And the personnel services salaries, you'll see that represents, that's 53%. As of Q2, and then the benefits again are at 73%, which again speaks to the pension payment that was in the first quarter. Next slide. This slide represents our enterprise funds, water and sewer, water, fire, flow, demand, as well as stormwater. You'll see here that in total revenues received are at 16%. And total expenditures are 18%. Excuse me. Something to note here is that just keep in mind that the revenues are recognized as the customers are billed. And this is typically on a quarterly basis. So we do have some lag here in terms of slow pays and things like that. So again, it's a quarterly basis, but once you have that issue of slow pays, that quarterly can turn into 6 months, and then that's what you see here. However, even though you see a 16% revenues received as it relates to utilities, the second quarter revenues from billing is actually at 34%, and for stormwater it's actually at 30%. So there is some lag, but we have received the revenues, and we'll continue to bill and make sure that we are posting those revenues as we receive them. Next slide. This slide represents our special revenue funds, and these are funds that are restricted in terms of what they can be used for. So here you'll see we have the building fund at amended budget is $3.1 million. Our year-to-date revenues at this time represent about $1.1 million. Year-to-date expenditures about $1 million. So there is some lag with the building permit fees. However, we are starting to see a shift in that, meaning there's more activity. So we do anticipate that revenue to start coming in as we continue on through the remainder of the fiscal year. Some of the other items include some of our grants, federal grants, as well as miscellaneous grants, and some of the police training and law enforcement trust fund. Overall, the amended budget for the special revenue funds is at $36.1 million. Total revenues to date, as of the end of the second quarter, is $13.1 million. Total expenditures are at $9.1 million. And then one thing to remember with the SHIP grants is that they're received in advance and reflected as revenue as the funds are spent. Next slide. In terms of our transportation funds, these are at, the amended budget is $5.2 million, and our revenues to date were about $1 million, and our expenditures are at about $1.6 million. Some of this is a lag as well, and we'll continue to monitor that as we move through the fiscal year. Next slide represents our capital funds, and this right here we have North Miami Cagney Park project. This was based on an amended budget for this year at $1.1 million. The expenditures to date are $38,391, and this was just due to rollover, prior year rollover. Next slide. And then this represents our internal service funds for this through the second quarter, which includes fleet as well as risk. Total, the amended budget is $9.6 million. Our revenues to date are about $3.4 million. Expenditures are at about $2.7 million. And just a reminder that risk management receives the revenue from the departments to cover the cost of premiums, admin charges of a third-party administrator, as well as claims. And then for fleet management, that revenue is also received from departments to cover the cost of vehicles and vehicle maintenance used by departments. Next slide. And this last slide represents our debt service fund, which is our pension loan repayment. And the budget, the amended budget or the debt service is about $1.8 million to date. We've collected $892,600, which is 50% from the department. And we've paid, our expenditures represent 12%, which is interest payment. And that concludes my presentation for the second quarter. At this time, if you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you very much, council member. The question, yes, Councilman Desailly.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. How are you?
Hi.
Singleton. Great. Going back to slide 5, I believe. I just have a little few questions of 5, probably 5 and 6.
Okay.
Councilman Galvin.
Okay.
Yes, I believe. So, in first question, would it be, since the 51% of the overall, since we at the second quarter, that would be almost halfway through, correct?
That would be 50% through, yes.
50%. So that would be, we should be almost on track in terms of where we are with that. So my next question would be in the building reclass fund to 120. You know, that says the 0%. Just explain that to me, and then the one that's the lowest, which is housing and social service. Just kind of why is it that low?
Okay, in terms of the building department, this has been moved to the building fund. However, you see $2,000 of actuals that have hit that department, and by the end of the fiscal year, that will probably be moved to the building fund. So you won't see that.
And that's the social service would be that. That's okay. I get that. Now, would it be programs that was allocated that the fund hasn't used, or a program that we just didn't do because of COVID? Is that part of it?
That could be a portion of it. Let me see. Just a moment.
Because I know the senior program, that, I know we didn't have any senior program, but it was allocated. And, things like that. So I think that might have explained being part of that.
Because they're under, you're saying because their expenses are under your. Yeah, or maybe it's housing also, because there hasn't been much of the housing. I'm just trying to figure out, perhaps that's why they have 25%, which is a quarter. Right. And what I can do is I can talk to Albert and get back to you on that, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Okay. The other question, you made a statement in regards to the ordinance, and you are correct. That is true. However, and that's what I said earlier with Miguel, it needs to be in consultation. We need to know. Although I know the ordinance does provide management to do what needs to be done, which I don't agree with that particular ordinance, but it doesn't make sense if we responsibility to the public, and then it's basically giving a blank check, and then at the end of the year we come in, oh, they did this and y'all didn't know, because we have the right to do that. I think I don't know, and I think the attorney, we had this discussion plenty of time previous year as well as last year in reference to that, and that's not a question for you, by the way. I'm just putting it out there. But we should know, because if some money was allocated and it's being moved, at least we need to just know where it's being moved, or just let us know, because we have to answer to the public, whatever the case is. So the next page, I think, thank you for those answers. The next page is open 6, and I think it was 1 or 2 answer a question I had there.
Page 6. Okay.
Yeah. Explain that one to me, the 73%, and I'm glad that you were able to break it down like that. Is it the insurance, or why? How is it this much?
So basically what this represents is so typically you're probably used to seeing the personnel services number combined with the one total, which always would include salaries and benefits, to really try to get a handle of what may be going on. It made sense to separate the salaries and benefits. And this is something that is more, we have an organization called Government Finance of, GFOA is the acronym. But basically, GFOA provides certain recommendations for state and local government, and this would be one of them, really taking a look at your personnel services, because they are divided into 2 categories. It's salaries, and then the benefits are always separate. So if you look at your salary costs, you're able to see what's going on with salaries only. When it gets to benefits, you're able to see like the pension costs, what that's, you'll be able to see what those trends are, because sometimes when you look at it in total, you may not see what's really happening. So this, breaking it out this way, allows you an opportunity to see that when we talk about expenditures being at a certain percent based on their weight through the fiscal year, you're able to see that that pension cost you'll see that 73%, because that represents a lot of that is based on that pension cost that was paid out at the beginning of the fiscal year.
Got it. Thank you so much. And I think that's basically in just terms of timing. But I really do like that, and I would recommend that they keep it like that. At least we could see, instead of them being combined, that has a good explanation. Thank you. And whenever we get a chance to talk about the reserve with the manager, I just want to talk about that, but privately. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Galvin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This might be a question more for the city manager, if not for you, Ms. Singleton. Have we heard anything about the American Rescue Plan and how much money we might receive, when we might receive it, and then have we given thought once we receive it, how it's going to affect the budget?
Yes, we do know that what we're expecting to receive over a 2-year period.
So we are expecting to receive about $9 million, about just a little over. The total for us in total is supposed to be 19 million. The way that the act is structured is that we are entitled to receive 50% in the first payment and the next 50% within 12 months. So on the 60th day from the day that it was signed, which was March 11th, May 11th, they opened up the ability for us to apply for the funds. So we have confirmation that the funds have been applied for. We would expect when they do the disbursement, it would be for just over $9 million. We have put some thought into that. We've recognized that in this one, what's different from the American Rescue Act, from the CARES Act, is that this act is a little bit more flexible and that we're able to look at our lost revenues from March 2020 and be able to use that to put towards our funds. Specifically in general fund, we've calculated roughly, this is an approximate, but about between $5 and $6 million that we can account for as lost revenues due to COVID. So those funds would be, what we would recommend is that would be put back towards the general fund for that loss. That would mean there would be 3 million, somewhere roughly about 3 million remaining from this first disbursement. We are looking into different programs. We're going to look again at also the possibility of the utility. It wasn't eligible under the last one, but it might be eligible under this one. And we're going to be working with the contractor in which we just did the agreement today, the work order, to work through what are programs and opportunities that we can use that would be approved by the ARA.
When you say, Ms. Manager, that we're looking at the utility, what does that mean?
When one of the options we had looked at was to assist with utility payments, and it wasn't eligible under the CARES Act because we had our own water utility, so there were issues being able to do that. But that is one thing that was requested at one point by council to look into that. And so we're going to be checking with our consultants now to see if that's a possibility. That would only be a portion, but we are looking at different programs.
If we have $3 million left over, I'm going to use generalities. If we have $3 million left over and we're said to have a large budget deficit, do you plan to put any of that money into our deficit? Or are we just going to spend the $3 million?
Well, currently I'd like to put it toward the deficit. The general fund itself specifically, we can put between 5 and 6 million. In order to put it into the deficit, it has to be related to the losses from March 2020 and COVID-19. So from what we've calculated currently, 5 million does that. What we are able to do is use it for other things that we anticipate are going to be additional losses or to cover services that we've had to stop or we weren't able to do that. So I wouldn't be able to close a gap from previous years, but based on the fact that we've already started closing the gap, being able to recover what we've gotten from what we've lost from March 2020 will help us to be very close to closing our budget deficit.
Will you from my standpoint, sooner rather than later, will you have a presentation at one of these council meetings telling us where the money will go? Because once the word gets out that we're getting $20 million, $19 million over the next 2 years, I can already hear the questions coming. And I'd like to know too, where we plan on putting the money, and talking about year 2 as well. If we get 9 million this year and 10 million next year, where's that 10 million going? I just want to make sure that we all know what the plan is.
Yes, I am bringing forth a plan after consultation with each individual council person. What was important to move forward was the item that we had today with our consultants, because any of the monies that we use, we have to make sure that we can do a proper justification so those funds are not clawed back. But being that we put in this work order with our consultants, we're going to have that meeting, and I'll be having separate briefings with each of the council people in order to bring a plan forward.
Awesome. Thank you. That's the only question I had, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? No. Thank you very much. I think this is the last presentation for tonight. And now we are moving to the consent agenda, comprise tab A to F. Madam Clerk, Madam Deputy City Clerk.
Unless a member of the City Council wishes to remove a specific item from the portion of the agenda, tabs A through F constitute of the consent agenda. These resolutions and items are self-explanatory and are not expected to require additional review or discussion. These items will be recorded as individually numbered resolutions adopted unanimously by the following motion: that the consent agenda comprised of tabs A through F adopted.
Thank you very much. Can I hear a motion to consent agenda?
Second.
Thank you very much.
I have a motion made by Councilman Desiree to approve the consent agenda. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Tab H.
Mayor? Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just a point of privilege. I do have another Zoom. My office had scheduled for 10 minutes, so I'll be taking a break. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tab H.
Tab H. A proposed resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, approving the city administration's competitive selection of Concrete Works and Paving INC as the lowest responsible contractor to furnish materials, equipment, tools, machinery, supervision, expertise, and services required for citywide sidewalk repair services. Further, authorizing the city manager and the attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement with the selected contractor in the total amount not to exceed $200,000 annually, in accordance with the terms, conditions, and specifications contained in invitation for bid number 18-20-21, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab H.
Thank you very much. It's tab H. It's sidewalk repairs, and we're not going to go to presentation unless a council member want that. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab H. Can you find out, Madam Deputy City Clerk, if there's anyone wishes to speak on tab H?
I don't see any hand raised. Claude, do we have any hand raised?
None right now.
Thank you very much. No previews, questions submitted.
No, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
I'll move approval unless council has more questions to ask.
I second that, and thank you very much. It's Sidewalk Repairs, and Madam Clerk, can you record?
Sure. I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab H. The motion was seconded by Mayor Biename. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 3-0 vote.
Tab I.
Tab I. A proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to finalize and execute a professional services agreement with McHarry Associate Inc. for the provision of pre-designed scope definition program and preliminary cost estimates for the Solemia Community Center and Park project in the amount not to exceed $69,600 pursuant to request for qualification number 08-17-18, continuing professional architectural and art and engineering services provided for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab I.
Thank you very much. It's tab I. I don't know if Councilman Galvin wanna say anything about this, and I see community center and I see Solemia. I know that's something dear to your heart, and you wanna say something before we open it to the public, or do you want a presentation so people know exactly what it is, Councilman Galvin?
No, I'll make it a 30-second presentation for those that don't know. We built into the Solemia contract 20 years ago land for a park, a community center at Solemia, 6 to 7 acres for community use. What I've been angling to do since then is to get basically a copy of the Joe Celestin Center planted there, because there's nothing on the east side of town, community centers, park space. There's nothing for Alonzo Mourning or David Lawrence to use other than some really tight PE fields. We're overdue out there for an upgraded facility. It is in the contract that they will kick in toward it, and today's vote begins the efforts to get it designed and move it forward for construction in 2023.
Thank you very much, Councilman Galvin. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab I. Public hearing is now closed since there is no hand raised.
No, we do not have any hand raised.
Thank you very much. And unless staff want to just add a little bit to, if you're okay, that would be the first phase of the design for Solemia, for the community center at Solemia, right? Thank you very much.
So Mayor, if I may, this is the pre-design so that we can have a pre-design scope and a full cost estimate with the elements for this project.
Okay, that means the city will do the design and the CRA will pay for the construction. Thank you very much. And I motion on tab I.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much, Madam.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab I. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 3-0 vote.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, tab J.
Tab J. A proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to issue purchase orders to ICF Incorporated, LLC, for disaster recovery management consultant services in an amount not to exceed $199,489, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Thank you very much. And Madam City Manager, I believe, can you give us a quick detail, or Mr. Estrade, instead of a long presentation, on exactly what this is about?
So this is for disaster recovery
services. So we've had our own disaster recovery services person for a while. We hired a new group, I believe back in about 2019. This is the group. This is going to be the first set of purchase orders that we're actually issuing to them to do work, because the last work that was done was through FEMA with the hurricanes. Currently, there's three sections we're hiring them for, 3 work orders. One is to continue to get reimbursements for the individual monies that we spent on the CARES Act from the city. The second is to work on the reimbursements to the county for their disbursement from the CARES Act. And the third is what I had discussed earlier, which was to walk through with them for our plan with what we'd like to move forward and do with the ARA monies that are coming through. They would work through the whole process and make sure that everything that we do submit would be approved, and so that there would be no clawback issues.
If I understand that company, what they will do is put the paperwork together, whether it's to FEMA or everything, so we can collect our money back. The reimbursement of all the money that we have available out there, right?
That's correct, yes.
Thank you very much. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab G. Since there is no previously submitted question and there is no hand raised, we're going to close public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. Council members?
Motion to approve.
And I second it. If there is no question. No question. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, Madam Deputy City Clerk.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Keys to approve the item at tab J. The motion was seconded by Mayor Bien-Aimé. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I just logged on. What am I voting on? I just logged on. I didn't hear the whole discussion.
We're voting on tab G.
Oh, what is tab G? Because I was trying to log on this other, which was not working, obviously. Tab G, because I thought tab G was removed.
No, it's tab J. Tab J.
Oh, there's a G. Okay. See the thing. Yes, that's fine. I'm fine with it. Yes, go on.
Okay.
Yes.
Tab K? No. Tab K, Madam Deputy City Clerk.
Mayor, if you don't mind, can I please record the vote for Councilman Desmond on tab H and I?
I wasn't here. What are the
One is for the sidewalk, tab H, for sidewalk repair, 200.
I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind because I'm obviously getting on this, but yes, I don't mind.
So your vote for tab H?
Mr. Attorney, can I still vote if I wasn't on? Is that okay?
If everyone remembers that you all passed a resolution.
Yeah.
Present at the meeting and you step away, you're required to vote on every item that you missed.
Okay, then, yes, I don't mind, yes. Tab H is the selection of the concrete, yes.
And tab I?
Tab I is the professional agreement,
It's for Solemia for the architectural.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Center. Okay.
Yes.
We could move on to tab K. A proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, rescinding resolution 2015-R.83, which created a rotation system for the election of the vice mayor and returning to the annual election of the vice mayor from among the council members in accordance with section 13 of the city of North Miami charter, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Thank you very much. Tab K, let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab K. Any previews?
No, Mayor, we don't have any previously submitted
Any
comments.
hand raised?
No.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any hand raised?
There's no hands raised.
Thank you very much. Council members, any questions before we move? Yes. Councilwoman Keys?
Okay, little background on this. We had always voted by rotation. In 2012, the council passed a resolution to do it by election. And what happened was the same person kept getting nominated repeatedly. Back in 2015, when we were all on the council, we changed it to a more fair process where each council person, for council people, for your term, each council person did get to serve 1 year as vice mayor, and all of the constituents in the district had the opportunity of having their council person act as vice mayor. I think that's the fair way to do it. I don't know why we are going back to any other way than the fairness of having each council person serve 1 year term. It just becomes it could become too political to just pick our favorite person and have that person in there conceivably for 4 years. So I'm against this. I think it's fair the way it is.
I understand, Councilwoman Keys, but do understand we come up with that in 2015. But like I've been saying, the city is moving forward. We're not going backward. That means 2012 already passed, and we're not going to those days anymore. We are moving forward. We're in 2021.
So we're doing pretty good for the past 6 years. Everybody's gotten their opportunity to serve for their year and this next one. So why would, so
everybody gonna have the opportunity. But
not
when
necessarily,
you say political,
no.
But when you say political, we are a political assembly.
Okay, but why shouldn't each council person get their opportunity to serve for 1 year? I mean, that's the fair way. So that's just my feeling. I think it's fair and it's working.
But this one gonna start in January of 2022, not now.
Actually, it says effective immediately, but that's not the point. In January of 22, the next vice mayor should be from District 2. And I mean, I think the resolution says it's effective immediately, but whoever is the council
in January. No,
District 2 should be the vice mayor.
In January.
22.
That's been in January. That's when we're gonna sit down and we're gonna elect the vice mayor.
So why shouldn't it just be what's fair and have it as District 2, and then it's 3, 4, 5? It's worked. That's just my opinion that it's fair.
Thank you.
Us choosing the person is not a fair thing for the rest of the people.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question? Yes. Councilman Desilme, go ahead. I can't hear you.
Yes, Councilwoman Keys, I had came up with the resolution in 2015, I believe, as the sponsor of the resolution. It's my understanding that the attorney had said there was either some legal or whatever the case is, because the charter had prescribed what was needed to be done. And part of my issue with the ordinance, I have always said that instead of it being automatic, that it needed to be where at least all of us would be voting on it, even though if it wasn't in the rotation, whatever the case was. Like they would just automatically would say this person would say this and this person would say that in terms of, the resolution. So as the maker of the item in 2015, the intent that I had for the item was we would be announcing or would be voting, however the term, however we would select the person, we would be knowing that this person term would end. That was I think that was all of our understanding of the process, because like you said, I thought that we wanted to be a fair, whatever process. However, that was not the case. We wake up one day and then you see that, okay, this person would be that the vice mayor, or you would be the vice mayor, and there'll be et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, can we at least at the last meeting, or if it's this meeting, that it will be yours, would let you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's a no because it's whatever that we had. The resolution that you had just said that we just would do it per district. And I'm like, well, that was not the intent of the resolution, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what they say. So, that was my particular intention. But when Jeff explained and the manager, I think they said something regarding the charter. So I don't know if Jeff is here. Is he there, or Jeff, who's there from the legal department? Because they said some other thing that kind of back what I was saying.
The only thing I think I mentioned when we were talking is that, but if you read what this resolution said, it's rescinding the last resolution because what it's doing is taking us back to what our charter says we're supposed to be doing. The charter is the charter is pretty clear. It doesn't give much direction. All the charter basically says is that there shall be an election of the vice mayor. It doesn't say whether it's annually or not. It doesn't say how you conduct the election. So I think in 2015, the legal opinion was by voting on that resolution to create the rotation, that is the council in effect having an election on how to vote to bring the vice mayor in. So all we're doing is rescinding it, and then what you have left is the charter. I think we put language in here that it will be an annual election. But even that's not required under the charter. So, if someone said you didn't want the annual, that's not even required either. But we put that in there thinking that at least whoever gets elected as vice mayor would at least get a year.
Thank you very much, Jeff. And Councilman Galvin, do you have any question? Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to approve tab K?
So moved.
And I second that.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab K. The motion was seconded by Mayor Bieneme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries with a 3-1 vote.
Thank you very much. And now tab L.
Tab L. A proposed first reading ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending Article 4, Employees Retirement System, Ordinance Number 691, and Article 5, Police Pension Plan, Ordinance Number 748, amending Section 15-63, miscellaneous provisions, amending Section 1596, mandatory distribution date, amending Section 15-100, retirement incentive program, amending Section 15-103, miscellaneous provisions, amending Section 15-135, mandatory distribution date, amending Section 15-143, state funds in place, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, codification, and for an effective date. Tab L.
Thank you very much. Now let's open it to the public. Tab L is open to the public.
Here, I don't see any hand raised.
Thank you very much. Council members, is there any question? No. Clear, can I have a motion on tab L?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab L. Motion was seconded by Mayor Bieneme. Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Desormeaux, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
The motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, just a point of privilege. I did ask the attorney, this is not something that we have a choice when you read the resolution. So I don't want anybody looking at it saying that we're supporting moving the thing of police. This is something that we have to do, by the way. So somebody did ask me, so no, this is something
just
that
adjusting IRS rate.
That's clarification. Thank you.
Tab M.
Tab M. A proposed first reading ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending volume 1, goals, objectives, and policies of the city of North Miami 2036 comprehensive plan, specifically by amending objective 1.20 of the future land use element and the official 2036 future land use map to extend the boundary of the special development and transit-oriented development SDTOD overlay district southward by 17 parcels of real property, approximately 9.9 acres in size, bounded by Northeast 18th Avenue on the west, Northeast 146th Street to the north, and Northeast 143rd Street to the south to encourage compact, mixed-use, transit-oriented development in accordance with Section 163-3184, Section 163-3187, Section 166.0413C, Florida Statute 2020, and Article 3, entitled Development Review, Division 3, Section 3-302, Section 3-1104 through 3-1107, Section 3-1109, and Section 3.1110 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, Chapter 29, entitled Land Development Regulations, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, codification, and for an effective date. Tab M.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Tanya Wilson, I would like you to do one presentation for both items.
Yes.
Okay.
So there are companion items, Mr. Mayor. So we will in fact take tab M and also tab N together. If IT could post the PowerPoint, we'll walk you through both map amendments. Okay, next slide, please. To provide an overview of this item, this is a request for a map amendment to the city's comprehensive plan for this amendment on tab M, and then we'll discuss the zoning map on tab N. So the area itself, the mayor and council recall that it created the SDTOD back in September of 2018. This is a transit-oriented district, overlay district that was required and created there for mixed use and for activation of that TOD area. The area itself is bounded by Northeast 151st Street on the north side. On the west side, you have Northeast 18th Avenue. On the south side, Northeast 146th Street, and on the east side, it's bounded by the FEC railroad tracks. And this activation that you'll see in the diagram will be extending the boundaries. We're recommending an extension from 146th Street southward to 143rd Street. So you'll see that area that's hatched and also outlined in red. That's a subject area, which will be involved in the amendment that's being proposed. There's also a text amendment to the comprehensive plan to include that new language showing the new boundaries for this area. You'll recall that the city has two city-owned parcels that are located. It's a 2.39 acre parcel that was discussed last month for an activation with a partnership with Take Capital. So that's a subset of this area that we're looking to include in the STOD amendment and the extension of that district. So the Planning Commission has reviewed this map amendment and also recommends approval of this extension on the STOD area. If approved, it will allow for mixed use, also heights up to 200 feet, and a density of 150 dwelling units per acre. So this amendment today will actually effectuate that development that was anticipated and discussed at last month's council meeting. Next slide, please. So the next steps in the process will be to transmit the approved. This is a small scale amendment, but we're still required to transmit it to DEO so they'll have a record of the change in our future land use map. And the next time that we'll hear this item again will be in June at the June 22nd meeting for second reading. Once that second reading has been heard of the ordinance and it's adopted, then the map amendment would have been effectuated and we can move forward with activation of the mixed use project that's included within that area. So that concludes my presentation. This is for the comprehensive plan. And again, a map change is also required for the zoning map for tab N. Same area, but the zoning map is what's being contemplated for tab N.
Okay. And the tab N, do you have another presentation now?
Tab N is the identical presentation. Just to clarify that the first vote that's being made on tab M as in moon is for the comprehensive plan map. And then the second item, the companion item, is for the zoning map itself. So you'll see that on the screen that we have the zoning map of the same area outlined.
Thank you very much. Let's open tab M to the public. Public hearing is open on tab M.
Yeah.
We do M, we go back to M, go vote, and just read in. There will be no discussion.
Do you have any hand raised, Madam Deputy City Clerk, or previously submitted questions?
No, Mayor, we have no hand raised and no previously.
There's one hand raised.
One.
Okay, we just got a score, right?
No, it's a ordinance.
You have any hand raised?
Yes, Mayor, we have one hand raised. Sarah McDevitt.
Yes.
Going to unmute you.
Okay. This is Sarah McDevitt, 1449 Northeast 10th Avenue. I have three questions. First, can you clarify the east boundary of this? Will it be 143rd all the way out to the track? Or is it only opened up for that subject property? Additionally, that zoning for that area, is it currently industrial zoning or is it residential zoning? Will they be using entirely TOD units to build that out, or is it going to be just add-on units? And then finally, the TOD units that are there, are they shared with the TOD units for the property down at 125th in our original transit station, or is this a separate set of units that's dedicated to the 151st Street site?
Thank you very much. Public hearing is open on tab M. Is there any other hand raised?
Mayor, I don't see any other hand raised, but let me confirm with Claude. Claude, do we have any other hand raised?
There's no other hands raised.
Thank you very much. Madam Seju, can you answer that for the resident, please?
Sure. So I'll take the questions as they were posed, Mr. Mayor. So the first one is the clarification on the boundaries. The eastern boundary does not go all the way to the train tracks. It's actually mid-block. So it's the area that is just west of 20th Street. So I just want to clarify that. So we've included all the folios that will be part of that overlay district. So the overlay is not going all the way to the train tracks. It's just mid-block of that area. I think the other question was in terms of the zoning. We're not touching the M1 zoning that's there. So it will still be zoned M1. It will still have a future land use of industrial. What we're doing is extending the boundary of the overlay. So the overlay is what we're touching. It's the SDTOD. That's a special development transit overlay district. So no touch of the zoning there. And then the last question is in terms of the access of the units. So you'll recall back in 2018 when we established the SDTOD, there was a set aside of 2,000 residential units. That's separate from anything in the NRO. It's separate from anything in the transit area overlay district. So this area has its own pot of units. So there's a 2,000 unit set aside specifically and solely for the SDTOD area. So I hope that clarifies the three questions that were posed.
Thank you very much. We are closing public hearing, and now council members, do we have any questions? No. Can I hear a motion to approve tab M?
So moved.
Second.
Mike was off. Second.
Okay,
I have a
Madam.
motion. I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab M. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Key. Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Desmond, how do you vote?
Yes.
The motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
Thank you very much. And now tab N.
Tab
Move
N.
approval.
Let's read it first and open it to the public now. We're not going to have any presentation.
No, this is a companion item, Mr. Mayor. It goes with tab M. M and N go together. They're both map amendments for the same site and the same area.
Yes, sir.
Tab N, a proposed first reading ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, amending chapter 29 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Land Development Regulations at Article 1 entitled General Provisions, specifically at section 1-106 entitled Official Zoning Map to extend southward the boundary of the Special Development and Transit-Oriented Development SDTOD Overlay District by 17 parcels of real property approximately 9.9 acres in size, bounded by Northeast 18th Avenue on the west, Northeast 146th Street to the north, and Northeast 143rd Street to the south, will encourage compact, mixed-use, transit-oriented development in accordance with section 166.0413C, Florida Statute 2020, and section 3-1002, 3-1003, 3-1005 through 3-1007, and section 3-302 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, chapter 29, entitled Land Development Regulations, declaring this zoning map amended to be consistent with the city comprehensive plan, further authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to effectuate the zoning map amendment, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, codification, and for an effective date. Tab N.
Tab N. Thank you. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab N. Public hearing is open on tab N. Can you verify, Madam Deputy City Clerk?
Yes, Mayor. One moment. I don't see any hand raised. Claude, do we have any hand raised?
There's no hands.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now closed. Council members, no question. I have a motion on the table. Second tab N. Any questions? No. Madam Deputy City Clerk.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item. The motion was seconded by Mayor Bieneme. Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Desmond, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
Thank you very much. Campi.
This is a quasi-judicial item. Okay.
Can you swear in everybody? We're gonna vote, please. Let's move.
If you are giving testimony today on the item at tab O and P, please.
No, tab P. P only.
P only?
Yes.
If you are giving testimony today on tab P, please raise your right hand as I issue the oath. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony...
In the swearing too?
I'm sorry, Mayor?
No, I was asking question if attorneys need to swear in too.
If we do it, I don't like it, but we do.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say out loud, I do. Okay. Tab P. A proposed quasi-judicial resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving an application for a conditional use permit in the substantially the attached form for an existing development that will provide for a university on the 7.95 acres real property located at the northwest corner of the intersection of Northeast 127th Street and Northeast 17th Avenue, and specifically identified with Miami-Dade County folio number 06-2229-057-0010, 06-2229-008-0059, and 06-2229-008-0552, in accordance with Article 3, Division 4, Sections 3-402 through 3-407, and Article 4, Division 3, Section 4-302 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, Chapter 29, entitled Land Development Regulations, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. Tab P.
Thank you very much. A quick presentation by Madame Sejour. Go ahead.
Thank you again. For the record, Tanya Wilson with Community Planning and Development. Thank you, Claude. Next slide, please. This is a request for a conditional use permit approval for Doral College. The site itself is located on the former Johnson & Wales University site. This will be a subset of the entire Johnson & Wales tract. Just to orient the mayor and council and the public on what we're looking at, this tract itself is located on the northwest corner of the intersection of Northeast 127th Street and Northeast 17th Avenue. The subject area itself is consisting of a total of 7.95 acres in size, and it's a compilation of 3 parcels in total. The proposal before you includes a recommendation for 106 parking spaces, 64,000 square feet of academic student center space. That includes a parking garage with 321 spaces. There's also a 160,000 square foot university center portion and a 260 bedroom Flamingo Hall residence portion. The overall site is zoned PU, that's public use, and it has a land use designation of community facility. So in order to have any activation on this site, because it does comport with what's allowed under the PU zoning designation, it requires a conditional use permit, which is what the applicant is proposing before you in this request. Next slide, please. So in terms of the conditions, staff is recommending approval with several conditions that's attached to this permit itself. One of which is that the applicant will need to provide additional parking, sufficient parking to satisfy the use and the demand on the site. They must also maintain the operation of all the areas and the function of the facilities. As the council is aware, this facility was used as the administrative building for Johnson & Wales with an associated dormitory use and parking facility. Staff and the city is requesting that these areas continue to be maintained and the surrounding areas and the trees and the foliage all continue to be maintained for the proposed use. They'll also need to obtain a certificate of use. If approved today and they're moving forward, they'll need to obtain a certificate of use from the city before they could be fully operable. The Planning Commission has heard this item and has recommended approval of this request with the conditions that we've listed on the slide, that additional security be provided to ensure safety and also that there's no issues with noise and nuisance on the site from the use that's coming in. There's also concerns regarding the lighting that's coming from the parking garage, and they've made recommendations for that. And I think you'll hear from the applicant's attorney today how they are proposing to mitigate some of those concerns that have been expressed by the Planning Commission. Next slide, please. So in terms of the next steps, there will be a portion that's requiring DRC review, and that date will be determined. If they're approved today, then they'll have an opportunity to move forward and finalize any additional plans through the DRC. And that concludes staff's presentation. I believe the attorney has another presentation at this time.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Mr. Gasson.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Pedro, and City Council members. Pedro Gasson of Holland Knight with offices at 701 Brickell Avenue. And I'm joined this afternoon by my colleague, Hugo Arza and Alessandra San Romain. And we're here this afternoon on behalf of Doral College, Inc. with respect to its request for a conditional use permit to maintain an educational use within the educational facilities of property formerly used by Johnson & Wales University. We are thankful to have staff's and Planning Commission's recommendation of approval, as we believe that maintaining the educational use on the property will add an educationally impactful program to the city. Now, before I go into the property, the location, and the historical approvals, I think it's important to provide you with some sort of context with respect to the property. There are three broad reasons why we believe that the City Council should approve the request today. First, it will bring an innovative educational program to the city that has been shown to improve educational outcomes. Second, it will be consistent and compatible with the buildings that are on the property today. And third, it will be in furtherance of the previous approvals that since at least 2005 have always contemplated that the property be used as an educational facility. Next slide, please. First, this conditional use permit will allow the establishment of a dual enrollment campus on the property. Dual enrollment is a program that allows high school students, and in some cases, middle school students, with the opportunity to earn college credits. The program provides rigorous educational opportunities while establishing a very cost-effective option for offsetting future college and university costs. In Florida, students in dual enrollment programs are exempt from paying tuition, registration, and fees. And this cost savings, which is significant, is something that I will address later on in this presentation. Next slide, please. One of the core benefits of providing dual enrollment access to high school and middle school students is that it provides the confidence for these students to recognize at an early age that not only can they go to college, but that they also can succeed in college. For example, when analyzing the percentage of students enrolled in post-secondary education after high school, a study found that students who took dual enrollment classes were 17% more likely to be enrolled in post-secondary education. They were 8% more likely to be pursuing bachelor's degrees and 5% more likely to have not dropped out before their second year. These percentages that I've just referenced represent a significant number of students, as this study was based on an analysis of over 299 students. Next slide, please. In addition, dual enrollment has shown that it has a positive impact on GPAs. In fact, the data shows that there is a 0.2 deviation of college GPAs between students who are not enrolled and dual enrollment and those who were. That deviation appears to continue for a period of approximately 3 years. Next slide, please. For students who attended college but had some of the lowest GPAs in their high school, those students appear to benefit by a 0.37 increase in GPA. So if the student had a 3.0 in high school, being in dual enrollment alone would have made these students much more likely to obtain a 3.3 in college. Dual enrollment also has a significant positive impact on low socioeconomic status students and has been associated with a 0.27 increase of GPA from these students' high school GPA. These educational benefits are some of the core reasons why a dual enrollment campus would provide significant benefits to the residents of North Miami. But in addition to all of this, access to dual enrollment courses creates a significant opportunity to broaden college access by reducing the future financial burden that students bear to pursue their college dreams. Next slide, please. For example, a study has demonstrated that over 87% of college students have student loan debts in excess of $10,000, and that this debt is severely impacting these students' abilities to pursue their dreams, as 61% of them have noted that the amount of student loans have adversely impacted their willingness to start a small business. Next slide, please. In fact, student loans are negatively impacting other areas of our economy, as it is causing more graduates to have to wait until they have made a significant debt in their student loans before taking on more debt in the form of housing. This is why this application is so important, because it helps to provide significant cost savings while also substantially improving educational outcomes. Next slide, please. For example, through its dual enrollment programs to date, Doral College has saved students over $9.2 million while providing a wide variety of different courses to young students, including financial accounting and statistics. This campus will grow Doral College's dual enrollment footprint and provide more public school students with access to dual enrollment courses. Next slide, please. The property, as noted earlier, is located north of Northeast 127th Street and east of Northeast 16th Avenue. It is composed of several academic buildings, a parking garage, a parking lot, and a dorm. The property is approximately 7+ acres and has served for over 20 years as a focal point of the educational opportunities provided by Johnson & Wales University. The property is already built out, and the CUP presents an excellent opportunity to maintain an educational facility on the site. Next slide, please. This is a view of the property looking from Northeast 127th Street. This slide just gives you a better view of just some of the buildings that are on the property and show the existing conditions of the site. Next slide, please. This property is part of the Johnson & Wales master plan that was approved by the city in June 2020 and was recognized as part of the existing conditions for the educational use on the master plan. Our plan is to continue the educational use on the property. Next slide, please. We note that in 2005, 2013, and 2020, the city approved various master plans that have always contemplated that this property be used for educational instruction. Our request this afternoon is in furtherance of these historical approvals and helps to maintain the status of the property while also enhancing the educational opportunity for the city's residents. Next slide, please. This is a depiction of the western portion of the property near the parking garage. We have heard the concerns from a neighbor who lives on Emerald Drive regarding the view of the garage from neighboring property. We have sought to address his concerns by proffering several conditions, even though a good portion of the garage is obstructed from view by the trees that are planted. Here are the conditions that we are proffering today to address some of those concerns. The first condition is that mesh or similar material will be provided to mitigate the view of the top 2 floors of the parking garage from the adjacent residential properties to the west in a manner that does not adversely impact the current ventilation of the parking garage. Second, the lighting structures at the top of the parking garage will be affixed with light shields to prevent light spillage onto adjacent residential properties. But in addition to that, we are offering several additional conditions to address certain concerns that have been raised to us. First, school safety officers will be provided on-site during the hours of operation. The applicant will hold a community meeting within 30 days of the approval of the CUP. And Northeast 17th Avenue between Northeast 127th Street and Northeast 130th Street may be open for drop-off between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. and pickup between the hours of 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. and will be made available to emergency vehicles for emergency access. Next slide, please. Your approval this afternoon will allow DeRock College to create a dual enrollment hub at the property, which, as noted earlier, will enhance the educational opportunities for students while potentially reducing their student debt, all the while being consistent and compatible with the historical approvals. We thank you for your time. We are here to answer any questions and would like to reserve some time for rebuttal. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's open it to the public. Let's hear what the public had to say. Public hearing is open on tab P.
He's gonna answer for road.
Yeah, but they already agreed to the road.
Please, tab P is open to the public. Madam Deputy City Clerk, do you have any?
Yes, we do have some previously submitted comments. However, as of 4:08, Councilwoman Estime Irvin is present.
Thank you. Can you read the?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Kat Barbic, and my address is 13045 Emerald Drive, number 3, North Miami, Florida, 33181. That would have my backstop sharing the water with the parking garage designated for Johnson and Wales University in North Miami. I would like to make it known that the parking garage and surrounding area really look unsightly from the side. I would like to politely request that it is not be only cleaned up, but possibly renovated as the block, as to the block, the direct view of residents on this side of the water. I have watched it gradually degrade and continue to be torn up pretty badly. The garage, there is garbage thrown about and it just looks trashy. It's not exactly the most beautiful sight from over here. I'm sure once decisions are made, the final result will be beautiful. However, I did want to voice my concerns as a resident of the Emerald Drive. Thank you for taking my issues into consideration. Scott Barbic.
That's it. Y'all only one. Hello?
Yes, she's at her house.
You have only one.
One moment, Mayor, please.
Is Councilman Galvin still on the call?
I am. I just needed to eat a bite. Didn't want everybody to see me chewing on camera.
No problem. Just wanted to make sure.
All right. Hello, Mayor and Council members. My name is Claudia Scoffon. My husband and I purchased a property at 13165 Emerald Drive in North Miami in 1985. Of course, when there are any changes in the surrounding community, I am concerned for its impact on mine and my neighbors' home and businesses. I kindly request information. Here are the list of questions and concerns. The rooftop of the school's multi-level garage, will it be used for parking or something else? If something else, what will be the use? What will be the hours of operation? If the area illuminated, will the lights be turned off at closing or kept on 24/7? How many lights will be on the rooftop area? What will be allowed by code for each fixture? What is the code for the height of each fixture? Will the lighting be at a taller elevation than the nature barrier that is currently there, which is natural tree line? Has the study been done as to how the lights could affect the natural habitat of the surrounding area known as Oak Creek Environmental Preserve? I truly appreciate your time and attention to addressing our family's concern. Thank you so much. Those are the only two comments that we received, Mayor.
The person holding the Bible. I think it's enough. Yeah. It's not the, like, I think that's what's bothering me.
And we have one hand raised, Mayor. Sarah McDevitt. I'm going to unmute you.
Yeah.
Hi there, Sarah McDevitt, 14490 Northeast 10th Avenue. I just wanted to say that it's an exciting project. The idea of bringing additional educational opportunities to our community, particularly our high school students, is great. I would like to know how Doral Academy, being a charter school, interacts with the public schools in the area. Are your programs targeted at those schools, and how are you doing outreach to those schools to make sure that, you know, there's a seamless interaction between a charter and the public schools? Because it would be great to know that the students in our community are directly impacted in a positive way. Thank you.
Want to put it down? Or
There we have no other hand raised.
see this flag. Okay, because I was like, okay, maybe put it in the back, but no, you just don't want to see the space. Yeah.
I don't know if this problem is occurring to everyone else, but I am unable to hear the mayor.
Sorry, it was me. Thank you very much. Now public hearing is closed. And now council members, do we have any questions? Councilwoman Keys, then Councilman Galvin after.
You want to go first, Councilman Galvin, being in your district?
Sure. Thank you, Councilwoman. I'm excited that this potential use is coming along. I think it's in everybody's best interest that the facility remain as an educational use. First, a related thing, Mr. DeSantis, has nothing to do with you. This is for staff and for anybody from PMG who is listening. I need the city to host a public workshop as soon as possible to talk about the future of the entire 25 acres, not the site that we're talking about today, but the 25 acres. It is totally unfair for PMG to piecemeal it and have it brought to us little bit by little bit without telling us what's happening in total. I've had many conversations with them. I'm finally saying, I'll say no going forward to everything if they can't communicate with this city and our public about what they plan to do with the land. I'm tired of their excuse that they can't break confidentiality agreements. They lose my support after this item if they don't immediately come to the table and talk publicly with everybody involved. That being involved, now switching to Mr. Cassant, the questions I've heard from the neighbors have everything to do with the lighting. Restate, please, for those that are watching and those that are texting me right now. I'm in the middle of the discussion, but please restate what you're planning to do with the height of the lights and the screening that is there.
So what we're going to do in short order, Councilman, is we're going to provide a mesh to cover the top 2 floors of the parking garage. We're also going to provide a light shield to ensure that the lighting that's currently on top of the parking garage does not impact adjacent buildings.
There's been suggestion from the residents, and I guess this is for staff, Tanya, maybe, that new regulations, if this was a new facility being constructed from scratch, that lighting would not be allowed taller than 3.5 feet from the top of the facility. And apparently this lighting is up to 15 feet. Is that a factual statement, and have you had any conversations about that with anybody?
Correct. It's a factual statement. Since this is not a reconstruction or a new construction, they're actually grandfathered in based on the current configuration of the building. And no, I haven't had any conversations with anyone from the public, but I know my city planner has, because the item was heard at the Planning Commission. So there were several comments shared with her, similar comments regarding the lighting and the parking garage.
So if the city council at this moment wanted to reduce the height of the lighting from 15 feet to 3.5 feet, is that within our purview?
It's a recommendation. That's really a legal question, though, because it's something that I'd like our city attorney to weigh in on, because it can't be a criteria that's inserted. Since it's not one of the criteria for approval of a conditional use permit, it's something we could proffer, but it's up to the applicant to decide if it's something that they're willing to do with the property. They're not obligated to do it.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, Mr. Cazot, is that accurate? We can ask it, but we can't mandate it?
Yes, Tanya had it all correct. It's grandfathered in. We can ask, but there's nothing that obligates them to comply with what we're asking.
All right, now back to you, Mr. Gassant. Are you willing to lower the light poles from 15 feet to something closer to 3.5 feet?
So Councilman, I think one of the issues is that we wouldn't be in a position to reduce that height today, because essentially for us to make that commitment would essentially reduce our ability to ensure safety of the parking area, making sure that there's sufficient lighting to provide safe passage along that area. What we would be willing to do is we would be willing to make a commitment of having our photometrics engineers go out there and ensure that the foot candle, as I've been taught by my architect, is sufficient to ensure that there's safe passage along the top of the parking garage to ensure that we can meet those requirements. I do have a different perspective with respect to the 3.5 feet. Typically, if you were building a parking garage today, you could ensure that the angle and the manner in which it's constructed would be sufficient in order to ensure that the lighting of it be able to cast enough light to cover enough area. But it's hard to put something new on something that's been there for a very long time. So taking a 3.5 foot candle or something that was built with the idea of something that's 15 feet, it makes it a lot more difficult to ensure that we would be able to address those concerns. So that would be my only issue, Councilman, is that we would have to first analyze it to ensure that we provide safety in a safe way of making sure that the parking garage would be lighted on the site.
So if the 15 feet that's there currently can still be safe at 8 feet, at 6 feet, are you willing to bring it down if the photometrics show that it can?
I believe that if the photometric engineers come out and say, yes, we can cover this and make this work, I think that they would be willing to do that. But I think that we would have to base it on what the photometric engineers are telling us. We don't want to put ourselves in a position, Councilman, whereby somehow that obstructs our ability to appropriately circulate along the parking garage.
And Tanya and Jeff, do we have the ability to, look at the same photometrics and judge to make sure we're all on the same page and we're not just taking Darrell's word for it, so to speak, that we can also assess the photometrics? And then do we have, I see you nodding your head, so I'm going to take that as yes. Do we have the opportunity at future hearings on this property to then address that more fully, or is this our one crack at this today?
So I will say at the DRC stage, your photometric review is something that we'll be looking at. And the plans have to be signed and sealed by a professional engineer. So that in itself is your seal of authenticity. But on our side, we have our engineers check it as well. But we'll have an opportunity administratively to review that once it comes before us at DRC.
Okay, and when do you expect the design review to be? approximately?
Pardon?
When do you approximately think the the design review will come to us again?
So we meet twice a month. So if it's approved today, then we could move forward with scheduling it for as soon as June, within the next couple of weeks. So that's a rapid process, just to be able to get them before all the disciplines of the city and have it reviewed.
What opportunity does the public have to see or hear what's happening? It's no good if we just say, yeah, we're going to study this a little bit more. Everybody goes back to their office, and then we come back in 2 weeks and say, it's been approved.
So I'll say at any point, the documents are submitted to us here in the planning department. It's a public record. So any resident that wants to review those documents, they can stop by or schedule a visit to take a look at it themselves. So they have that free right to do that with the public record.
Let's do one better, Mr. Gassant. Are you willing to host and hold a public workshop for anybody who lives along that strip to come and look at the photometrics and ask questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's all the questions I have.
Thank you very much. Councilman Keys.
Thank you. This being a quasi-judicial item, I'd like to acknowledge that I did have a conversation with Mr. Gassant last week. So I think that's required. So that being said, thank you for considering the opening on an emergency basis for the north side of 17th Avenue. I was thinking of a good way for doing that would be to take the curb rather than cutting it, but just filling it in, making a little ramp. And that's a life safety issue for our city when we do have fires or traffic accidents on Biscayne. There's really no way to go around it. So I appreciate that. And I know the residents will really appreciate that. So thank you. Doral Academy is an excellent school. I know personally my husband used to teach and tutor there. And the students that come out of there come out with very high grades and very good access to excellent colleges. So I'm very excited for our residents, our citizens in North Miami to have such an opportunity to have that type of school. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Based on the questions, Mr. Gassant, I think when the site plan is ready, I think you're going to have to host some community meeting with people around and raise all those questions. So they're happy for the project, but they have concern, and I hope that you have community meetings again in person so they can address those questions.
Absolutely, Mayor.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions? No? Yes.
Good afternoon. Please excuse the tardiness. I was attending a meeting that I'll talk about during citizen or after citizen forum. But anyway, I just thank you for your presentation, Mr. Gassant. Your presentation, you've answered most of the questions that I would have had. Just am curious, and I just want to make sure that would the resident, this is such a great program, I just want to know what the resident of North Miami, I want to ensure that they are able to participate of this opportunity, and what is, could you go into a little bit more about that insurance?
Absolutely. So as a matter of practice and as a matter of historical significance, in the locations where Doral College is located and Doral Academy are located, the residents who typically are serviced are within a 2-mile radius of the site. So we fully anticipate that the residents of North Miami will be the core benefits of the dual enrollment programs that are going to be provided on the site. We think that based off of our historical analysis, that 2-mile radius is really the basis for ensuring that residents of the city will be accommodated. And that's really where our pool of students come from, is within that 2-mile radius.
Okay, and I also want to publicly disclose that I too had a conversation with you. I just want to put that on the record as well. Thank you. I just want to ask a public question that I asked you privately. I know that this program will, this dual program will have AA, or is there an AS, a component an AS opportunity as well for students?
So at this time, Councilwoman, there's not an AS opportunity for students. The dual enrollment program is essentially meant to meet the core requirements for any college within the state of Florida. So the AA program is really that core. However, Girard College has been looking at the AS program because we know that for nurses and different technical skills, it provides an opportunity for folks to receive a leg up on moving forward. So the college is looking at the opportunity of expanding its course provisions to ensure that we can accommodate folks with AS, but I don't want to say that in a public hearing when we haven't solidified that and made that commitment yet. But we are certainly looking at it, and I actually talked to the client earlier this week, and they are taking a very strong evaluation of whether we can provide the AS.
All right, thank you. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Where's Councilman Desulme? He's not available. Okay, and let's put on record that I met with Mr. Gasson about the project, and my concern, I won't be happy if I see that Doral College acquire additional land for educational purposes. And I'm happy that you stay only on the part that they're for educational activities, and I hope we stay like that.
Is it right fist or
Are you
left?
planning? Okay. Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Thanks. Just quickly, it's just come to my attention that Kenny Each is attempting to get on this call for discussion. He's unable to do so. I think staff is trying to work with him to get on. But I just wanted to make note that Chief Each does want to speak on this item if time allows.
Okay, at any time, if or doing citizen forum, we can address that if
she likes
and Madam Deputy City Clerk is in on the call.
Let me check.
There you go. That's the one we should send her. I sent it to her. Oh, okay.
No, Mayor, he's not on.
Okay, he will. We'll let him address that during citizen forum. And now can I hear motion on tab P if there is no other questions? If everything is okay.
So moved.
I second that.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Keys to approve the item at tab P. The motion was seconded by Mayor Bien-Aimé. Councilwoman Estime Irvin, how do you vote? Yes. Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Bien-Aimé, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
The motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members.
Thank you, sir. Now, what do we have? I think we have tab O.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, with your permission, I would like it if we can table this item. If we can table this item, please, on the next council meeting. Thank you.
Okay, I second that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we vote, City Attorney? Yeah, do we vote now? Thank you very much.
Mayor, we're doing citizen forum now? Or
No, the question that I asked you,
Call the vote.
what happened?
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Estime Irvin to table the item at tab O. The motion was seconded by Mayor Bien-Aimé. Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Bien-Aimé, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Estime Irvin, how do you vote? Yes. Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
Thank you very much. And now I think we have citizen forum.
Oh, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I do have a request to consider citizen forum. Also, I see number 9 as
Yes.
I see number 9 as appointments. Does that mean our appointments to various boards?
I don't think we have, I don't have any applications. I don't have any appointments unless.
I do have one, and I'm told the city clerk has that in their office.
Okay,
So,
and I have one too.
If possible, I'd like to nominate Clint Bauer to serve on the nuisance abatement board.
And I'd like to reappoint Mike McDermott to the planning commission.
I'll second that.
Madam Deputy City Clerk, the appointments. Yes, Councilman Keys.
Mayor, the city attorney would like to say something.
Mayor, we're going back. Remember, you guys, the council passed a resolution on how we're going forward with the appointments. It's supposed to be a resolution, back for the council. So are you just giving the names and we bring it back, or?
And I withdraw that. I withdraw my, okay.
Jeff, I don't want to withdraw because I've handed this in twice and had the clerk's office confirm several days ago that Mr. Bauer had submitted an application. I was asked by staff to find somebody who is willing to serve. So I took the time to find somebody. Mr. Bauer stepped forward. He submitted his application. To now ask him to wait another month. I mean, why bother? Why are we appointing anybody to these boards?
Council wants to take, you can take the vote. We'll bring it back. We'll just ratify it later on with.
That's fair. So I motion Clint Bauer for nuisance abatement board.
And Mike McDermott to the planning commission.
No.
I'll second that, but I just want us to remember this process because so many times I had to set my appointments aside because, we had a new process, but that's fine. I'm going to second this and I'm ready to vote on it.
No, but if the application is available, yes.
The application has always been available a lot of times when
If the application is available, it's fine. Yes, Councilwoman Keys.
Okay, so you're talking a couple different appointments. Councilman Galvin has appointed Clint Bauer on the nuisance abatement board. If the clerk has said that he is vetted, I don't believe there's any requirements maybe other than a residency requirement. That's different. Our planning board, last thing I do, we worked a long time to get qualified.
No, but that's Mike McDermott reappointment. He's on the board already.
Well, he wasn't, I don't know if he was vetted, but if we're going to be making appointments, I think we should.
Mike McDermott been on the board forever.
Okay, that doesn't mean he was that's fine, but I think we should start following. We've got a lot, and it's not just Mike. Mike is probably qualified. We have a lot of people sitting on that planning commission that are not qualified, are not vetted, and we can't just say, oh, I'm going to reappoint him to grandfathered in. So I want to go by the book. We have qualifications. We just passed a resolution as to how we were going to appoint people on the board, and that they would be vetted by our clerk. And non-qualified people should not be grandfathered in. So if Mr. McDermott is qualified, which he very probably is, then he'll get approved. So I think we need to start doing it the proper way.
Thank you very much.
It's not personal to Mr. McDermott.
Okay, now requests for recommendation for Citizen Hall of Fame. Councilman Galvin can.
Thank you. And this will come as no surprise to any of us, but Bob Pashon, who was incredibly active in the community, including on aforementioned Planning Commission, Bob passed away just a few weeks ago, and many of us didn't even know he had been sick. He passed away from cancer. Certainly, Bob would have been deserving of being in the Citizens Hall of Fame under any circumstance, but the only option I have is to nominate him posthumously. He served with the Keystone Homeowners, the Planning Commission. He had other charitable works he was involved with otherwise. So I would like to put forward the name for Bob Pashon for posthumous induction to the Citizens Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. I think the administration will come with the resolution at the next council meeting, sponsored by Councilman Galvin.
Do we need I'll second that if we need to vote on it.
No, it's automatic.
It is. It's up to the council person.
Yeah. Jasmine is going to come.
At this time, I'd like to just express my condolences to the family. Bob was a very good friend to the community, worked really hard, spoke to him almost daily about the city, ways to make it better. So he's really going to be missed. I know I miss him. So thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much. And now let's go to Citizen Forum. Deputy City Clerk, do you have any submitted questions, concern, or do we have any hand raised?
I don't see any hand raised, Mayor, for Citizen Forum.
You don't have any things submitted previously? You're looking now.
I'm sorry? All right. This is Eileen Baikaba, 13350 Northeast 3rd Court. Some cities accomplish growth and new development while protecting the way of life of homeowners with good planning. Let us be one of those cities. Please do not allow non-emergency traffic into the pocket park of 126 or parking of non-homeowners in that area. That traffic should not be allowed on 125th. During COVID, people from the north have been running to our area for our wonderful quality of life. Please preserve it.
Testing.
Carmela Furman, 12530 Northeast 4th Avenue. Regarding the Art Tech project on Northeast 126, 125th Street, I'm in support my neighbors that are asking for the following changes. 1, remove pedestrian access to the pocket park, or at the very least, make it an emergency exit only. This will deter residents and visitors from parking on swells and in the pocket park. No parking signage on the residential side. Since parking will be an issue for residents and visitors, it would be wise to make parking across the street on Northeast 125th near the Presidente more attractive. Better lighting, better signage, and free. If the developer is getting CRA money we did not want this developer to receive, residents also deserve CRA money that will alleviate the impact of this development. CRA money should go towards buying the electrical cables, new landscape, and for the pocket park. My name is Gio Darder, founding director of Copper Bridge Foundation and developer of Copper Art Hub, 12500 Northeast 4th Avenue. I welcome new development in North Miami, but I also encourage community development to go in hand with solutions in community concerns. For me, design is very important. Since the building faces 125th and entry to our downtown strip, and if I understand correctly, the facade, which consists of a mural of some sort, my question is, will we have opportunity to view proposed artwork through the CRA program? Regarding impact of building, my main concern is pedestrian safety. I would like to see reinforced crosswalk on 125th and 4th Avenue to Plaza and Park with added density building like this project, the future Copper Bridge Foundation headquarters, Copper Arts Hub, and future enhancements to Griffin Park. We need to realize that the certainly will be an increased pedestrian activity for north and south, and we need create pedestrian safety zones. If not addressed, I fear unfortunate accidents will be inevitable. Thank you. This one doesn't have any address. Hey, my name is George Rogo, and I'm a homeowner living in the cul-de-sac where the proposed development is planned 451 Northeast 125th Street. This is my area. This is my concern with the new development. Stop traffic being routed through our neighborhood. The developer plans to demolish an existing home in order to build a parking lot and route all existing traffic into the cul-de-sac. This will overwhelm a quiet street and create congestion. The city should deny the planned outflow of traffic into the cul-de-sac. Crime and foot traffic. The developer plans to add pedestrian exit into our cul-de-sac. The city had closed off pedestrian access into the neighborhood in the past. Due to high crime and unnecessary foot traffic, the city should deny any pedestrian walkway into our quiet cul-de-sac. Safety. The increased traffic and parking is making our quiet neighborhood less safe for our children. Sewer impact. The development will add strain to our weak sewer infrastructure. The city should demand the developer to address sewage problem and around our neighborhood. And this is the last comment that we received. We have no further comments.
No hand raised. Thank you very
I don't
much.
see any raised.
Thank
Claude, do
you.
we have raised?
No hands raised.
Thank you very much. Citizen forum is now closed. Council reports. Councilman Galvin.
Thank you. I'd like to ask that that this be our last virtual city council meeting, that beginning with June 8th, we return to evening time in-person council meetings on the second and fourth Tuesday every week. I think time has come for us to return to normal. And certainly those that are being inaugurated into office on the 8th deserve something more than just looking into a little screen here. So I'd like us to return June 8th for the, appropriately budgeted swearing in ceremony, and then our regular council meetings thereafter.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Keys.
Sorry, I was muted. This is my last meeting, so I'd like to just give a small speech. I'll keep it under 30 minutes. I know it's late, so we'll go for it. It has been an honor and a privilege for me to have been able to represent the citizens, residents of District 2 and the entire city. I could not have accomplished my goals and missions without the support and assistance of my fellow councilmen, our manager, Teresa Theralis, our legal department, police department, planning and development, parks, and all of our other directors and departments, and especially my constituent services aide, Carolina, and Rosa and Rosny of our mayor and council office. Thank you all. I've learned so much during the past 8 years about our different cultures and backgrounds. I've learned municipal, state, and federal laws, planning and zoning laws, and so important to me, sustainability and resilient practices to protect our city from global warming, which threatens all of us and our generations to come. Thank the council for allowing me to engage with our developer and attorneys of Solomia, who are presently on target with developing a high-end 96-acre cohesive mixed-use project in our city. That was an exciting time in our tenure. I would especially like to mention one mentor, our city attorney, Jeff Cazot, who has kept me informed and on the straight and narrow. Our weekly meetings for the past 6 years have been educational and intellectually rewarding. He has been honest, and he does not opine based on political pressure. I urge all of you to recognize his value in maintaining the integrity of our city, and even when you are not pleased with his opinion. Councilwoman Estime Irvin, I hope you will continue with our Get in Gear bike rides. It has been a diverse community event and brings our residents, businesses, and our Chief of Police, Larry Juriga, and our treasured police force together in a safe and congenial surrounding.
Perfect.
I hope all of you will continue with our resilient and green North Miami. Please continue with our green awareness events, our recycling events, and planting and properly maintaining our trees and allowing our bioswales to flourish. They are imperative to cool our homes and mitigate flooding throughout the city. Thank you to my husband, Neil, who has given up so much of his time and our time together and his strong support to allow me to serve our city. My mission as councilwoman was to commit to integrity, transparency, and fiscal responsibility in our North Miami government. I've given it my best shot to maintain that goal. It has been my pleasure to serve you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Estime Irvin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and colleagues. Good afternoon, North Miami, especially District 3. Councilwoman Carol Keyes, thank you for passing the baton. I have been biking with you for a couple of months, and I really enjoy the initiatives that you kept going, and definitely I will keep it going. So thank you for passing on the baton. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of those that gave me another opportunity to thank them again. I know that I'll have a long talk on Tuesday, June 8th to talk about it, but I just want to publicly thank you for the vote of confidence. And I'd like to thank those who actually put their hats out there to serve the community. But I just really, again, want to thank you, residents of District 3 that have placed your vote of confidence in me, and know that I'm working for you every second, every minute, every hour of the day. So I want to also excuse my lateness, and typically I am not late to council meeting. I thought it necessary to represent all of my colleagues here, to be present to hear our Secretary of Homeland Security come and address the Haitian community. And I'm sure that our elected clerk will have a lot to say, because she had a lot of good things to say to the secretary. But as you all know, we have a lot of residents here in North Miami that are affected, either have TPS or could get TPS. And in North Miami, we have the largest group of diaspora outside of Haiti here. So it was encouraging to be among a lot of other stakeholders, community leaders that spoke to power and basically said, thank you for this opportunity, but here are some other demands that we'll have. And I like I said, I'll let our city clerk eloquently say that, because that is her domain. So that's why I'm late this morning. I just wanted to be a voice for residents that are not able to vote, or that are not able, but that are still here affected in our city and needed a voice out there. Also, June 15, we're going to continue our food distribution that we're having at Griffin Center. It's going to be in collaboration with Farm Share Again, and also with school board member Dorothy Bendros Mendengal. So that's going to be June 15 from 9 a.m. until the food lasts. And so those are all of the announcements that I have for you today. Again, it is a pleasure to be here and to just for you. Thank you. That's all I
Mr. Mayor,
Beautiful roses.
these
Yes,
are
Councilman
for
Galvin.
Councilwoman Keys. I wish that we were able to do more, but with our love and great respect, these are for Councilwoman Keys.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. That was a socially distant hug.
And we're vaccinated. It's been a great 8 years sitting next to you, Scott, so thank you. It's been a great support. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. And city attorney report. There's no city clerk report today. Sorry.
Clerk's here, man.
She's late. There's no report. You just want to say hi? Madam Clerk.
Hello, Mayor. So as was mentioned, I was attending the meeting with the Secretary of DHS, Alejandro Mayorkas, and we know that here in North Miami, there is a significant portion of the Haitian population that is now eligible for TPS. And this is an important step because this allows people to come out of the shadows, so to speak, and be able to have dignity, right, in the form of documentation. And so it was very important that North Miami be present there to be able to ensure that Secretary Mayorkas understood what is necessary for us to properly represent and provide assistance to this population. And so I'm happy to report that the meeting, I believe, was one that proved to be successful. He certainly listened. He is someone that is known to be compassionate. And I know that in the days to come, we should be expecting more information as it relates to the process by which people will be able to apply for TPS. But right now, what's extremely, extremely, extremely important for us to tell our community and the people that we represent, documented or not. At this moment, there is no federal register notice, and that means there is no application nor an address where we can actually file any TPS applications. And so if anyone is saying that they are willing to take your money to help you file for an application, that person may not have your best interest at heart, because at this moment, there is no mechanism by which we can do so. I also want to remind people that while your city clerk is an immigration attorney for a nonprofit, she is not an attorney within the city of North Miami for the purposes of completing your TPS application. But just as the city has done in the past in terms of making sure that people receive assistance, I know that this city will again show up, or at least it's my hope, right, that the city will again show up and either help to host some outreach events or outreach information sessions to educate the community.
We've always been doing it, and we're going to do it again. Continue
Wonderful
to do
to
it.
hear. And so thank you
with
so
the
much.
Haitian Lawyers Association and other organizations that usually work in the field of immigration.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for your allyship. And thank you to everyone on the council for your constant support, because I know that throughout the years, you all have supported this community and believed in the dignity of all people. Councilwoman Carol Keys. I think I ran out of words to say to you. about how much you mean to me. I think I said it to you last time. We did a whole video. And I just want to say again that I am still looking forward to you continuing to be a significant part of our city. I also want to take this time to remind people that it was 1 year ago today that George Floyd was killed. And it took America 8 minutes and 46 seconds to realize what Black people had been saying for years, that they do not feel protected in this America. And even in spite of the recent decision, we cannot say that justice has been served, because for justice to have been served, George Floyd would still be here. And we also know that there are great people in the world and there are people who are not so great. And that's applicable to everyone everywhere. But we all have a responsibility to just do better, to educate ourselves, to educate each other, and to ensure that we continue to remain part of all of the fights, even when they do not directly affect us. There is no room for hate in any context, and never will there be room for hate. And I want us to remember that none of us are free until each and every single one of us is free. And so I ask for every single one of you to commit yourself to continuing to fight for the liberation of others, no matter where they are. And that's all I have for you, Mayor. Oh, I also want to remind everyone that early voting is underway for the District 2 runoff election from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. That ends on Sunday, and the runoff election day is June 1st. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much. City Attorney's report.
Mayor, if you can indulge me, I'm gonna do part of my job here, and then I gotta run downstairs to Councilwoman Keys' office to present her with something. And I can do that as soon as the manager is done. But the one thing I do need to do as part of my job is that we do have a lawsuit that I need another executive session for. This is the Jockey Club Condominium Associations, Inc., case number 2020-027-233-CA01. My office will be contacting you each to try to get your dates so we can schedule that. But that's going to be a very important one. So I hope everyone can make it. And I'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you. Madam City Manager.
So I just have two things. First, I want to welcome a new Assistant City Manager, Anisha Daniel, who's coming to us from the city of Fort Lauderdale. She's met a couple of you because that were in the office, but not everyone yet because we haven't been in the office. But I'm very happy to have her on board. So thank you. And secondly, I just wanted to give an update on the Cagney Park project, so that way we know we are underway. Environmental is something that'll be ongoing. We expect to complete our construction documents by November 2021 of this year, and be prepared to start our construction portion in February of 2022. So we are moving forward ahead with the Cagney Park project, and we'll get construction going. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello. I'd like to address the city manager, please. May I? Thank you. So, Madam City Manager, I just would like to, and I meant to say that in my statement during my time. Is there any way that you can find funding so that we can assist as a city and do our part in assisting with TPS when the application becomes available? And I know that the mayor probably is going to opine on that as well, but I just wanted to see if we can already start the legwork so we can do what we need to do to be able to assist whatever residents would be in need of that here in the city of North Miami.
We'll look forward and we'll look towards some.
But usually we work with the Haitian Lawyers Association, FLIC, and Santla, and all those organizations to do like massive applications. That's mean a city clerk, and then that's the way we usually do that. And I will be taking the lead on this, like always when it comes to immigration, and I will continue to do so. Thank you. Are you done, Councilwoman Esime Irvin?
Yes, I've completed.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, I'm going to take my mask off. So this is a little bit awkward. We got to do this virtually, but in honor, I'm gonna kneel. I'm not proposing. just so I can get to the camera. I think everyone knows Councilwoman and I have had a whole lot of history before I even came to the city. We were on opposite sides of a lot of issues, but she has become a dear friend, a great supporter. I really appreciate you. Don't know what we're going to do without you. But as a going away gift, what we did was our office took every ordinance and resolution that the Councilwoman has sponsored during her time here, and we put it into a book form, which she can now put in her library along with everything else you have. So really appreciate everything you've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That is just so beautiful. I just told Katya I'm published. that is just the most thoughtful. It's just incredible. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
The city attorney's really showing off.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, Audrey? It's very wonderful, especially since.
We'll take a picture.
Oh, thank you to me.
1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we're done.
May I touch it?
There is nothing. Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to adjourn, seconded by Mayor Bioname. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Dear Councilwoman.
The motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
I'll still be here. I'm watching. I'm watching you.